Nick at Night's regularly scheduled programming will not be seen at this time, so that we may bring you the following special presentation.
Transvestite DJ. Transvestite.
Liberalism. Across the country and across the globe, liberalism is spreading like one of those little weeds that spreads across your yard. But has it come to Denton, the heart of common sense? On today's program, we're going to ask the painful question: is Denton liberal? We'll begin our discussion with a concerning development at one of those bastions of freedom, the fire department.
Comments are pretty hilarious online.
Yeah.
It's hours of entertainment just reading people roasting us.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That would be you! You lucky devil, you! Follow me!
Oh gosh, yes. I've tried to. I do all of our social media,
Yeah.
and I've tried to stay off of it as most I can. It drives me crazy. They think that we've drunk the woke Kool-Aid. You know, I can't help ignorance, but all I can do is provide the facts and have people, you know, read the article and see what we're doing out here. And sure, whatever. I don't know if you want to get it from that side with the glare or not. I'm not sure. Yeah, David Boots, Battalion Chief of the Denton Fire Department and Public Information Officer.
Max Fernandez, firefighter here at Station 1 on A shift for the Denton Fire Department.
So this is the Pierce Volterra fire engine. So it is an electric engine, but it also has a backup diesel engine in it. So it runs full electric, full EV, but it also has that backup diesel engine. So we'll never get caught stranded on the side of the road or anything. So
we'll turn it on and you can see how loud it is. So that's it there. It's turned on at the moment. Not very loud, pretty quiet compared to the actual diesel engines there.
the funny story behind that is this building was the electric power plant for the city of Denton from the 1930s to the 1960s. And then it sat vacant for over 20 years, almost 30 years really, and converted it to a fire station. And they called the fire station the powerhouse because it was the electric generating plant. Well, now we've got the first EV in Texas, so it's kind of fitting that the first electric fire engine is at the powerhouse.
It's a lot more quiet, a lot less, feels a lot less hectic on scene just because it's easier to communicate with other guys and stuff. Just like anything, if it's being run a little harder, then the battery drains a little quicker. But cool thing about it is it'll detect when it's low and it'll transition to that diesel motor seamlessly, whatever it is you're doing, whether you're driving, whether you're pumping, you shouldn't notice any difference in that.
Have you noticed any like speed differences or anything like that, or handling differences?
Not necessarily. I haven't noticed any significant difference. It just drives a little different because obviously it's electric versus the diesel. If you ever drive an electric car, you just notice the difference, but nothing that's hindering us. Or
it is a little bit shorter than a normal fire engine, and it weighs, I think, 3,000 pounds more than a regular fire engine. So because of the battery packs. So it is a little bit heavier, but it still carries 500 gallons of water, still pumps 1,500, 2,000 gallons a minute, whatever it is.
As far as the pumping goes, yeah.
Cancer in the fire service is a much higher rate than the normal population. We operate in a continually toxic environment, and so anytime we can reduce exhaust emissions, that's going to be a plus. Second thing was timing. To get a new fire engine right now, if I wrote the check today, it's going to be 4 years before you can get it. That's the backlog. However, on the EV line of production, it's a little over a year. So we were able to get it 3 years sooner. We were running short on reserve apparatus, and we needed a replacement pretty quickly. So yes, it is more expensive, but we could get it here a lot quicker.
Pump is here. The difference between the other engines and this one is that there's got to be some space created for the battery. So this section here is actually the battery, and it's mounted vertically here. And just like any other EV car, that's where it plugs in. And we have our charger right here at the station.
Yeah, to your left.
To plug it in here. Charger here they got us is pretty heavy duty, so we
did do one charge whenever it was almost at zero, whenever we were about to put it in service, and it went from 0 to 100% in 90 minutes.
Yeah, so it's about a minute a percentage.
Yeah, this is not your standard home charging unit. This is a full battalion station, so you've got a battalion chief that runs the east side of town here, so he's got 5 fire stations that he oversees. You've got the ambulance here, we've got the fire engine, we've got the truck, the rescue truck, and then a reserve ladder truck down there at the end. So it's a full station, full house, and everybody here is rescue qualified. So if there's any type of rescue at all in the city, this station is going to be going to it. So when I got started, we had 5 fire stations, 5 engines, 3 ambulances. Now we have 9 fire stations, 9 fire engines, 2 trucks, 8 medics, 2 battalion chiefs on duty. Yeah, big change. We're doing a lot of great things up here. You know, not only with apparatus, but our training, our personnel. We've got a great group of people, you know, that work here and serve our citizens.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the rest of it at this point is just like a regular engine as far as compartments and stuff go. Nothing's changed there.
Well, I guess what it boils down to is there's a lot of local pride. You know, we serve our citizens. These guys are out doing public education and special events and stuff all the time. I mean, the Central Fire Station gets tagged a lot for things. I mean, everything from hanging the flag for the turkey trot, you know, to going out and being on standby for the 4th of July, you know, for the run for that. Being downtown for Arts and Jazz Fest, you know, the medics running for that. So, I mean, we're always out and about. Having the new Mean Green themed fire engine at Fire Station 3, that's a rolling billboard, you know, not only for the university, but for us too. It's very unique and it's got national attention. So, you know, there's a lot of pride in our department that we really focus on promoting Denton through it.
Don't run off. The show will be right back.
Here's the thing about Denton.
When you show up in Wise County and Denton County, you cannot but be inspired.
Uplift their drag. What do we do?
Are we going to stand and fight, or are we going to surrender?
It doesn't get more Denton than this.
Are we going to stand and fight, or are we going to surrender?
But it turns out that the fire department isn't the only place where liberalism is showing its ugly head. We've always known that the realm of art and entertainment has been where some of the most scurrilous members of society have taken up residence. Unfortunately, Denton is no different. The next segment will introduce you to some musicians, a band as they call them, called Tonya and the Hardings, who have written a song with lyrics which are undeniably liberal biased. The name of the song is New Bohemia. Listen for yourselves, if you can.
This next song is sponsored by Milagro. Milagro, te emborrachas rápido.
Wow.
That means it gets you drunk fast.
I cannot drink from a bottle properly.
You can smile.
Tell him, smile for me.
Smile.
Smile for me. Smile.
No.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got a little bit.
Tired.
Yeah. Okay, but some of these places don't do their homework. And we got on a festival in Dallas. And
We won't say which one for legal reasons.
and I'm waiting. I start to walk over to talk to a friend, and one of the organizers comes up and says, he's not supposed to be here. I was like, who? Who's not supposed to be here?
What? Which one of us?
Astro?
Astro.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's just that if he doesn't play, I don't play. And she's like, wait, how long's he been in your band? I was like, since the beginning of Tonya and the Hardings, like 5 years, 6 years?
Everybody has a shirtless, oiled up saxophone guy like in their minds when they think of Lost Boys. And he played at Three Links, and I tell you what, you know, he's aged very, very well. Like you could see, like when he oiled himself. I thought
I'm Tonya Lincoln, and these are the guys from my band, Tonya and the Hardings.
I'm Dick Harding.
Warren DP Harding. Rod Harding.
And I'm Steed.
We're going to talk about New Bohemia. The song that we're going to do it's a sarcastic way of looking at myself, actually. Whenever I wrote this song, I was thinking about my college years and my friends, and going from this very sheltered lifestyle to college and vegetarian to learning about Buddhism. And it occurred to me one day that this was actually kind of a very stereotypical path that a lot of my friends were taking, and that it's just all wrapped up in my head with this saying from the musical Rent. In the one of the songs, he goes, "Bohemia is a fantasy in your head. Bohemia is dead." And I just started playing in my head so much, and I kept thinking about how, yeah, Bohemia is dead, but there's this new version of it, and it's this weird dystopian version of Bohemia. And so the whole song is just a sarcastic look at my own college years, really.
Fuck yeah.
The irony is I was still a vegetarian when I wrote the song, and I do still study Buddhism. Now I'm running all about the Buddhist way, and I found a new path that I can escape. I love the Dalai Lama and I follow his word, and none of my questions are ever absurd. Nothing in the world has made me feel so good. You should do it too. It's the only way. I'm New Bohemia. I'm New Bohemia. My friends are all like me, but we think we're individuals. I lived up in store
Alvin and the Chipmunks will return after these messages.
California Secretary of State March Fong Yu.
Man, you know me.
Don't get caught short in the race to register to vote. If you've moved, changed your name, want to change parties, or you're not registered, you must register by May 5th. Forms are available at the locations appearing on the screen.
Jog your memory.
Register today.
Right.
And so, you can see that liberalism has taken root in Denton. But I have bad news for you. Hold on, because you're about to be exposed to an onslaught of liberalism, the likes of which may cause your bile to rise.
If we don't get up, what are we gonna do? Shut it down! If we don't get it, what are we gonna do? Shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! We will differ and mistake, separate the church and state. We will differ and mistake, separate the church and state. We will differ and mistake, separate the church and state.
I think Denton wants to be a liberal progressive place, but oftentimes falls short when it comes to actually being progressive. UNT markets itself as a progressive school, yet has been incrementally taking away our multicultural center, our Pride Alliance, and now our ability to do drag on campus. It's disgusting, honestly.
No peace, no peace, no peace, no peace, no justice. No peace, no peace, no peace, no peace, no justice.
My name's Arden. I'm the chair of the Young Democratic Socialists of America here at UNT. We help organize this protest here with a couple of our drag community because our school decided not to ban drag per se, but to pause it. Whatever they mean by that, we have not been able to find out. But what we're doing here today is that we just want our whole student body to know that our university banned drag. They tried their hardest to not say it. They tried their hardest to keep it quiet, and they tried to keep it as silent as possible. They didn't send emails, they didn't notify the student body, rather they just told two organizations, the Sigma Lambda Betas and the GLAD, that they were hosting drag shows this month and that they couldn't do them this month. They had to hold off. They were paused indefinitely. That's why we're holding this protest, and we held it ASAP. It's because we don't want our university to just quietly get away with doing something else that they've done this semester without any kind of statement.
It's disgusting that our school focuses on giving billions of dollars to weapons manufacturers while closing down departments and shutting down drag. Shame! Shame! We're going to get started here with a march. We're going to march all the way to administration over there so that we can be louder and so that when we do performances, they can't ignore it because they'll be looking right outside the window.
No peace, no justice. When trans lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When trans lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! What do we do? Stand up, fight back! Hold your head up high, drag will never die! Please, hold your head up high, drag will never die! No cops, no KKK, no fascist USA! No cops, no KKK, no fascist USA!
and it just kind of makes us all feel unsafe. All of the students, all of the queer students that are here, which is a large part of our community here, chose this campus because they felt safe within the queer community in Denton specifically. It's more about the campus, it's also the city that we're in, and our city is a strong queer stronghold in Texas. And it's just disgusting to see our university not turn their back only on our students, but our community as a whole. It's embarrassing to see these children like Harrison Keller in office who only had qualifications for being some book banner in Texas State, who was just given the job by Greg Abbott, like the rest of our board of trustees, who just sit there and doing the laziest job possible.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! It's disgusting that Republicans and Democrats perpetuate the crimes and the punishments that we experience. It's disgusting. It is disgusting that we even have to tell our university that this is a basic breach of First Amendment rights. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. Shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. Performance is so good that the MAGA people couldn't help but be in the front row.
I come from Austin, and so Denton feels very much like home to me in a lot of ways, and a lot of really problematic ways, frankly. And one of those is, of course, same question that Austin gets asked, like, are we a liberal city? Is Denton a liberal city? And it kind of just goes to that whole saying of just like, when you're in power in Texas, it doesn't super matter what political party you're in. We can see, like, in Denton, our Democrats are led by people like Paul Meltzer, like somebody who just is just happy and content to receive like bankrolls and money. And that really comes down to it eventually is like in communities like Austin and Denton, where there's a liberal sentiment within the community as a whole, politicians start to get in on this and just start to do whatever public-facing thing that they need to do to remain in power. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here in queer rights, for instance, where they are completely just oblivious, goes right above them with the queer community. Whenever we have a Republican federal government, even some of the liberal tendencies that we can find in our local government or even local administration or organizations like our university can backslide dramatically just to comply with the current political framework.
If there's a drag ban and we say fuck you, we're gonna do drag whenever we want. Is there a drag ban then? No! Struggle connects with queer struggles, connects with immigrant struggles, and connects with Palestinian liberation. And we cannot let it end here, and we cannot forget this today, and we cannot allow ourselves to go home and feel happy that we've gone to one protest and that. I'm a history major. I actually think the students of every generation are inclined to be more progressive and to fight for their own rights. I don't think it's something special of Gen Z. I actually think it's something about being young. I can hear your southern drawl.
In moments where you feel unsafe at a lot of times, it is the communities that you find that make you feel safe. That's just kind of the community that we try to find here in Denton, within the YDSA, the SJP, the GLAD, there's all these student organizations on campus that are truly just about making safe spaces that our university specifically tries to dismantle.
So where I belong, down at the Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club, Pink Pony Club. Thank you back, thank you McGee. Thank you back, thank you McGee. Everyone else, defend Prop B. Everyone else defend Prop B. Districts 1, 2, 4, and 3. Districts 1, 2, 4, and 3. Voted for this. Defend Prop B. Voted for this. Defend Prop B. Who's right? Defend Prop B.
Yeah, that looks good.
Oh, wait.
I'm going to put this on the ground, please.
No, you look good.
The legalization of marijuana is on the ballot in Denton.
If approved, Proposition B would require law enforcement in Denton to ignore low-level marijuana possession.
Nick Stevens says that is just one indicator of how confident the group is.
people are really hurting. And it was the same when I fought for cannabis decriminalization. Because I'll talk to some people who don't agree with me and say, how could you? You did this, that, and the other. I started taking cannabis because of PTSD. I experienced sexual assault as a kid. And I took antidepressants, I prayed, I went through therapy, and cannabis helped. Yeah, what's happening is the city manager and city staff have put on the agenda today the repeal of Proposition B, which was marijuana decriminalization in Denton. Yeah, I mean, so to put it simply, Councilmember Deb Armenter put Proposition B on the agenda during a 2-minute pitch, and this was years ago. It passed by 72%. Every district in Denton voted for it overwhelmingly. The day after it passed, the city manager came out and blatantly said she wasn't going to enforce it. The whole convoluted thing of where we are right now is that we have a council without a backbone that will force the city manager to enforce it, and has a lawsuit right now saying it's okay that we have this on the books because we're not actually enforcing it, so don't sue us.
To all in these present shall come greetings. Whereas swimming and aquatic-related activities offer significant recreational, health, and economic benefits for all, to help inform riders and motorists alike on motorcycle safety issues, to reduce motorcycle-related risk, injuries, and fatalities through the comprehensive approach.
Materials for the council, please notify the city secretary in advance. For scheduled reports, the council may initiate
Code of Ordinances providing severability and providing an effective date. Okay, first speaker is, and you'll have 3 minutes. First speaker, Nicholas Slavens. If you can come down and give your name, you'll have 3 minutes.
I'm disappointed in this council because it seems like there's a trend, which is that in the 20 years I've lived here, it seems like one of the most dysfunctional councils I've observed. That's relevant to the discussion today because I'm frustrated that this is now appearing without any kind of dialogue from the community. None of you have dialogued with the community who, if my math is right, Prop B has received more votes than I think, and I could be wrong, all of you put together. But there wasn't any dialogue. And so I'm asking that you be proactive, that you listen to the residents that have elected you, and that you fight for us. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, okay. We're gonna again decorum, and we got to get through these names. So if you could hold your applause, that'd be great. If you don't hold your applause, then I'm gonna have to address that accordingly.
It sends kind of a message that sometimes it actually doesn't matter. That for whatever reason we choose how we feel about this or any other vote to repeal, the will of the voters may not matter.
If the court had decided the case on the merits, that is, whether the ordinance was valid or not, there would be no reason to remand it to the trial court to determine the merits.
And the reason that they were given is because, oh, there's a lawsuit, there's multiple lawsuits, and now there's a motion for summary judgment, and there's a discovery order.
But I stood here a decade ago to tell you the exact same thing I'm going to say today, but except it was for the fracking ban.
And we are asking you to ensure that they do, and not back down on this ordinance. Paxton's claims are groundless.
Thank you. Okay, I'll take questions for staff, discussion, or motion. Representative from District 4.
Mayor, in light of the overwhelming legal fees, the possible freezing and jeopardizing of tax revenue, jeopardizing state grants and the ability to hold elections, I move the approval of this ordinance.
Representative from District 1.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Representative from District 2.
I'm going to be voting against this repeal. There is currently, this is basically unneeded capitulation of political pressure and capitulation of creeping authoritarianism. What I've seen suggests strongly that we are jumping ship before the ship is sinking. I have heard nothing from that has been presented to me in any context that says I am currently forced to engage in anything. I've not heard about any consequences, any penalties, anything that is actively implicit on the city of Denton right at this moment that says that we should thwart the will of the voters. Instead, it's individual councilors who will be choosing to do so. So I am not just a no, but I'm a hell no.
Representative from District 1.
It is very important to us. We all know how we individually feel. There's also an opportunity for us to be mindful of the practicality behind what we're doing here. You know, there's opportunities, there's options for us here. We do have an option to go with it, stay in front of it. But with all that is going on in Austin, these people are ruthless. Our community members came out in full force to this, and I know that's important to know that those numbers were very high. We just had an election, and we barely had people to show up for the election. But we're sitting in these seats, and we're sitting and knowing things that may happen, you know, futuristically, who knows? But we certainly do want to be careful on how we tread with this. I'm going to be voting yes for it.
First of all, votes do matter. Citizen participation matters. And the vote here tonight is not anything that is taken lightly, especially in light of the votes that supported this ordinance. There has been a change in legal precedent. The change occurred in April of 2025 with, as we've said, the 15th Court of Appeals, a Court of Appeals that is solely appointed by the governor. There's no voting included. There won't be any votes included on who the judges are. And they have exclusive purview over these types of cases. So we already know in advance where our appeal goes. They are anticipating something like $500,000 in future attorney's fees, but that's not the only reason. I also want to state that part of the reason I think that you hear the rhetoric tonight about this council being dysfunctional is because of some of these council people. And I'm not going to say that I am perfect or innocent, but I will say when I see threats put on Facebook and other places calling anyone that disagrees with them authoritarian or anti-democratic, ceding to the state, the decision's been made. It's out of our hands. It is a state issue and not a local issue. There is no hope at this time with the current laws, and we should put our focus on the state that clearly has the purview of these types of laws. And thank you for letting me talk so long.
Representative from District 5.
I want to start out by first thanking the city manager. I want to thank the city attorney. Guys, we've been talking about this a long time, haven't we? We sitting in these seats should never be prone to reactions of fear from any other government body. Government is getting a bad rap right now, justifiably so, because of many actions coming from the federal government. We see things as we are. As a black man in America, I understand that drug laws overwhelmingly, disproportionately affect people who look like me. The data is clear. Last one. 72% of the city voted for this. As was said, I appreciate Mr. Munguera, 72% of the city voted for this. This was overwhelmingly popular in all 4 districts. I'm an at-large city official, okay? I live in District 1. I represent the entire city, so I'm accountable for everybody. I understand that we are facing tough economic waters in this upcoming budget season. I do understand that. Having said that, we're approaching $200,000. How much is someone in the city's life worth? I don't want people.
Go ahead, wrap it up. You said it was your last point. I'm not, you said last thing, so I'm just saying conclude.
I don't want people in this city to continue to have arrests on their record for low levels of marijuana. And please know that whether I'm sitting up here or down there with you, I will be walking with you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Anyway, okay, folks, that's enough. All right, come here. We're gonna start with Richard. All right, never mind. But I've been consistent in that it violates state law and we don't have the opportunity to enforce it. And I've been passionate about that, but it has forced change, and that's what I want to hear about that because I think that's important to note, and everyone's concerns are valid. I think really for me to hear the key components of we did spend $200,000 in legal fees that we'll never get back. We are facing the proposition of tomorrow having to start discovery, which would trigger $500,000. That's almost $1 million that we'd be looking at. And so the question is, we're at 59 cents per 100. There's no other city in our area per tax rate, and we would then kick that up a level. We're facing $14 million in deficit next year, $6 million this year. So the question before me is, do I want to spend another $500,000 for something we're not enforcing? With that, we have a motion and a second. Vote on the screen. And that passes 4-3. And then that takes us to concluding items. Concluding items. Anyone have concluding items?
And I wish he and his family well.
Thank you for that. Anyone else? Concluding items.
I mean, I'll say this. Everyone from Decriminalize Denton knew how this was going to go down. I have to be honest, like, the only person I really blame tonight, largely, is the person that stabbed Decriminalize Denton in the back, and that's Vicky Bird. I think it's important for residents to know that Vicky Bird signed our petition to put it on the ballot in the first place. And over again, she talked about how important it was to defend democracy for at least the last year. And so she totally flipped recently. And so we all knew that was happening because she was messaging that out to folks.
As you heard our attorney say that the lower court was asking, well, I guess the Attorney General's office through the lower court was asking for discovery. So it would require the city of Denton and those of us as council members to turn over a lot of discovery and go through that process. That's a very expensive and long process, but that would have been what we would have anticipated. I suspect that our mayor might be right when he says all roads are going to end at the state Supreme Court. But I don't know how those folks are going to vote. That's also not my job to anticipate what another government body is going to do. I was elected by the people of the city of Denton. I'm going to do my best to fulfill my duties to the people of Denton. Simple as that for me. In the future, if other decisions will be made, I'm happy to look at those and evaluate those at such time. But right now, I chose to continue to fight.
Thank you, Beck. Thank you, McGee. Everyone else, defend Prop B. Everyone else, defend Prop B.
This ban is a gift to the cartels.
Supporters of Texas hemp industry are urging Governor Greg Abbott to veto a statewide ban on consumable THC products sold at stores.
It seems like they are still delaying the vote just a little bit. It looks like we're going at 6 o'clock now. Let them know to oppose SB 3 and its substitution the way that it's currently written, and to approve the amendments that are proposed by the hemp industry.
So whenever we gave testimony, it was really nice because we, in the House level, we felt heard because they were asking questions and they were modifying their questions based off of our answers, which is much better than the Senate. The Senate hearings, they weren't asking any questions. 90% of the time, representatives weren't even in the room. My name's Hayden Meek. I'm the owner of Delta8 Denton. We are what I consider the first cannabis store in Denton. We are a cannabis store, a hemp shop. We only sell cannabis and shirts occasionally whenever we do a run of merch. So in 2018, the Farm Bill was passed, which basically created a pathway for hemp products to be sold on the shelves with some regulation involved. And that means any cannabis product that has less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC on a dry weight basis is considered a hemp product, which is legal to sell now.
Terribly written, because 0.3% by weight in our beverage would be around 1,000 milligrams. And obviously we're not doing that. We're not trying to send anyone to a place where that they would go to by having that much cannabis. So this is our cocktail shop. This is where our retail shop. This is where we sell all the drinks that we make, our spirit-based drinks, our cannabis drinks, and where people can buy it straight from the people who make it here in Denton. And this is our production space. So this is where we produce every single thing that we sell. This is our canning line. Her name is Cangelina Jolie. She's about 12 years old. She's ran about 6 million cans right now, and she has a lot of life still left in her. We're hoping to put another 6 million cans on her throughout the course. So my name is Mike Williams. I am the founder and owner of Wild Revival Cannabis Cocktails, Wild Revival Craft Cocktails. We are a craft cocktail company based right here in Denton, Texas. We make great drinks with great ingredients for great people, honestly. We've gotten to where we just love the city of Denton so much. I'd never even been to Denton until I started to look for this place. The cannabis world is where it's at. 95% of our business is cannabis these days. We're doing 5% or less of spirit-based drinks. That's the future of the beverage industry. You see the pictures on the wall. This is where my kids hang out. This is where my business partners' kids hang out. We've got bubble machines here. We've got balls galore because this is not just some place where people are, making cocktails. This is a family affair for us. And so in the past few years, as the industry has grown to be the largest cannabis industry in the United States by state, the Texas hemp industry has gotten a lot of attention, a lot of it positive, a lot of it negative, mostly due to bad actors.
It's a loophole so large that an entire industry has been able to walk through it and at the same time reach into our kids' minds and deform them in some ways.
We don't want adults having this either. What are you, crazy? You want to go home and eat a bag of this tonight? See if you're here tomorrow? We focus on kids because that's where they built the shops, but adults are buying this stuff too. Make no mistake. Whether you're 40 or 14, you have no idea what you're doing to your body and to your mental health.
Yeah, so right now, this State Bill 3 is sitting on Governor Abbott's desk, waiting for him to either sign or not sign, veto. And if he decides to stand on the side of business owners acting in good faith and by the letter of the law, getting the permits necessary to manufacture or to sell hemp-based consumable products, then he can save an industry where somewhere between the neighborhood of 50 to 60,000 Texans work. Myself and my business partner only being two of those. He can choose to regulate the industry, which is what every person that I talk to, owners, workers, knows needs to happen.
People have always hated cannabis. It's kind of rooted in a lot of different socio-political issues, including, racism. That's the number one in America.
Creating criminal offenses to providing administrative penalty.
There are people in here that know what's going on. I'm kind of back and forth. We'll try and help people as much as we can.
I think that people in power want to have more power. And if you have municipalities the size of a place like Denton or Houston or Dallas that have realized that people are using these products like marijuana, very illegal currently. That's not what we do here, just pointing out. We don't do anything related with marijuana here. But people want power. People want to be able to say that, no, this isn't a thing, and don't you dare go against me, or else I'm going to take your funding away. And you won't get to see a single dime of it.
Cannabis is an umbrella term that has marijuana and hemp underneath it. So any cannabis product that has less than 0.3% Delta-8 THC is considered a hemp product. Anything with more THC than that is considered a marijuana product. Decry Denton, they've done amazing work, and they're fantastic people, and I want them to keep fighting. But it is solely focused on marijuana, from what I understand.
Decisions on how they want to go through with that. At Delta8 Denton, we serve a diverse community of people, and from my interactions with those who weren't able to be here today.
We make our syrups in-house, we make our teas in-house, and yeah, it's a truly craft product, every single thing that we do. I have personally, with my own hands, touched every single can that we have ever made, and that's about 20,000 cans. For anyone who thinks that, well, they're just closing the loophole, that's, it's not what was intended when they passed the bill. I would say tough. The entire industry has sprung up in 6 years. And once Pandora's box is open, you can't put it back in there and without hurting thousands of Texans. Texans that pay taxes, Texans that just want to go to work, Texans that just want to be able to relax however they want to relax. It's just so frustrating for the party of small government, and for the party of personal liberty, and for the party of reduced government intervention to be pushing this so incredibly hard and to make this their signature legislation in the state.
My biggest blessing in this business is that I've been able to build an amazing team of very talented, skilled, and smart people that love their job, they love their community, they love the people that they serve every day, and they are just as motivated as me to continue to provide that kind of service to the community.
Just to make note, because most people don't think that there are dispensaries in their neighborhood. Oh, there aren't that many around us. Oh, I live in Sanger, or I live in Crum, or I live somewhere, it's not Denton. No, obviously Denton's too liberal. It doesn't represent Texas. Well, I implore everyone to just watch. Look at every strip center you walk by or drive by, and I bet you 1 out of 3 of them is going to have a vape store. And vape stores are dispensaries. The industry isn't going to go away. It's just going to go into the shadows. And the people that are making a living out of it legitimately aren't.
Denton has a lot of, Dentonites typically have a lot of liberal thoughts, and they allow for that sort of expression as far as like the drag shows and decriminalization, and just kind of like an acceptance. But also, Denton is an old town, and so you have a lot of older mindsets there too, that are just as far right as some are left. I think the general sentiment typically is that Denton is one of the more liberal places you can be in Texas, but it definitely has its pockets.
At this point, I just don't know that the political labels matter as much as the fight to save our country. It's interesting, that there's a lot of talk about progressives and moderates and conservatives, especially within the Democratic Party, as people wonder, what kind of leadership, what kind of politics, what kind of policy is going to break through and allow us to overcome Trump. I wonder if that's the wrong question, and if the right one is, are we going to stand and fight, or are we going to surrender?
I honestly do not know if they have an update yet. That's a Corey one, actually. Last they said anywhere from 500 or more.
audience.
Put me to work. Hey, you're doing a good job.
I think that those words have been so cheapened that they often don't mean anything. I see a lot of moderate Democrats say that they're progressive, and so we don't know what that word means anymore. What I will say is I think Dentonites are nuanced, and so if the question is, do they care about the most vulnerable? You know, do they care about LGBTQIA community? Do they care about livable wages, universal health care? Yeah, they care about all of that. But I think Dentonites are oftentimes nuanced in their approaches and don't love binary labels.
We were here with you, but next time we come through, we're going to say hi in person.
Yeah, hey, I love that you come anytime.
We were not just tell me, Sure.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody.
And we fight together. So everybody stand up and clap your hands for our guest of honor, Mr. Beto.
Hello, Denton. Let's hear it for Delia Parker Mims. We're going through a really, really hard time as a state, as a country, our friends, our family, our neighbors, some of us individually. To keep despair at bay can become a full-time enterprise. If you are a Republican, if you voted for Donald Trump and you're here, I'm glad you came. You're in the right place and you're welcomed in this meeting. If you're a Democrat, we're glad you joined us. Independents, non-voters, if you've been in this country for 5 days or your family has been here for 5 generations, you are in the right place in Denton, Texas. But we owe you a fight to stop him from firing 83,000 employees from the Veterans Affairs Administration, the majority of whom are veterans themselves.
And I remember that we had a great call. My question is, are you going to declare your candidacy for the USC?
That is pretty damn fulfilling. But if it comes to pass that this is what the people of Texas want, that it's the highest and best use of what I can give to you, then yes, I will, okay? Thank you. I appreciate it.
To your right, Beto, to your right. Keep going right. All the way back here.
There we go. Thank you.
I got to tell you, the fact that we are in April 2025, in other words, not an election year, and this many people showed up on a Saturday in Denton, Texas, not just to see the person who came to speak, but to listen to one another. As you saw, anyone was able to ask a question unscreened. We didn't ask party affiliation. That's really powerful because, as you know, the temptation for many is to give in or to give up or to write this off as hopeless. Everyone here has hope, demonstrated it by taking the action that we all saw from them today. So I'm pretty damn inspired, I'm optimistic, and I too am hopeful.
Just, and it's like he has tried political office 3 times and failed, and he needs to just bow out and leave people alone. Give the country a chance to recover.
I'm a veteran of the United States military. I'm a rural blue-collar worker, and I also happen to be transgender. What do you say to those families? What can they do to get involved where they don't feel like their neck is out on the line?
You know what they're banking on? That because transgender Americans are purported to be controversial, it's not a popular subject. Is that why Democrats lost in 2024? Let's blame it all on them. Maybe nobody wants to stand with the transgender members of our community. So we'll go after them and no one will raise a voice. So if I could ask you to come up here so you could literally stand with me right now. As a fifth-generation Texan, as a blue-collar worker, as a member of the United States military, and yes, as a transgender Texan, this is who we are. We're going to stand with one another. We're not going to leave anybody to fend for themselves. You all with me? Thank you for being here. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, thank you. That's who we are, at our absolute best.
I come out and speak my mind.
And what is your mind?
My mind is that Democratic Socialist platform that he preaches is not the way to recover the country. And it's starting to turn around already. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump, I absolutely was stressed so much thinking that Kamala Harris even had a chance of getting shoved into the White House.
You know, when you show up everywhere, when you show up in Wise County and Denton County and El Paso County and the 251 other counties of this state, you cannot but be inspired. You cannot be but reminded of the greatness of this state, the majesty of this country, the hope and promise that America represents for all of us. You don't get that online. You don't get that on TV. You don't get that even from books. You get that from people. You know, one of my favorite philosophers, Joe Strummer of The Clash, said, without people, you're nothing. And with people, I think by extension, you are everything. And last one on Lincoln, you know, we were talking earlier about public sentiment. Public sentiment is really just a fancy way of saying the people. And what Lincoln said about public sentiment is that without it, nothing is possible. With it, anything can happen. And so that's why we're bringing people together. Today in Denton, last week in Wichita Falls, Rice University, Mansfield, Fort Bend. We're going everywhere, showing up for everyone, bringing everybody together. That's the way to do this.
A broken roller coaster, thousand useless moving parts. Sometimes you spend your nights too scared to get any closer, hiding out in the backseat of your car. You tell yourself it's raining, the clouds are in your head.
When I'm struggling with depression or just life, and sometimes it's just a phone call.
Yeah. Okay, how have you asked God to eliminate things for you or your family?
Hi, I'm Reagan Gilliland,
I'm Scott Gilliland.
and we're here at First United Methodist Denton, and this is where open worship happens.
Open Worship was a worshiping community started here at FUMC Denton about 7 or 8 years ago. And it was started as an explicitly affirming space for LGBTQ persons who are curious about faith or maybe just needed that sense of church home and community and might have a hard time otherwise finding it. And has since grown into a very diverse and eclectic mix of folks, many of whom identify with the LGBTQ plus community, many of whom do not and are simply here because they believe this is the kind of worshiping community that they want to be a part of.
In those works of justice, we began to see and feel God's mercy and compassion for the marginalized and oppressed groups who are experiencing injustice in ways that a lot of us don't really connect with, but God will connect us in those points.
So yeah, my understanding of God and people knowing that people are created in the image of God, that everyone has sacred worth. And so knowing that everyone ultimately has worth and value, that they are worth loving. That's why I believe in inclusive theology and ministry, because I know that everyone is deeply and radically loved by God, by just who they are. They don't have to prove who they are, and that God accepts who we are because God created us. And so I can't imagine ever also playing God and saying you're not welcome, because at the end of the day, we're not God. And so the God that I worship is full of love and grace and mercy. And so that's why we believe that everyone has a place at the table.
Or maybe you're simply just having like a hard time. You're like, I just would love to get coffee and just kind of share what's going on in my life. You can scan that QR code and request any of that. You can also just go to care@fumc.com/FUMC.
I do think about my chosen family a good bit during that time and what I would like to see, what sort of comfort I would like to see for them.
So, okay. So, this is a question that could have 1,000 rabbit trails and we could be here for a minute, but I will try to say a couple things. One is, I know that the term woke today means something different than its original origins as born out of the lived experience of Black Americans. That should just be said, given the fact that I know that where the question comes from is we've, as a people, we have grabbed onto this term in a pop cultural sense to simply, I guess, mean liberal or progressive, even though those words are different too. Here's what I'll say. See, I told you rabbit trails. I am more concerned with the timeless example and redemptive love of God that I understand in the actions of Jesus, who sat down and dined with people who were hated by their community, people who were ostracized because of health conditions or because of simply the way that they were born. These are stories that are in the Gospels, supposedly like the central texts for Christians. And when we live into that, and someone wants to hurl an epithet at me, whether that is now the term around being woke, we've used terms like this before though throughout history. I think there is always going to be a cultural pushback against a common message that I think is the heart of the gospel, that is God's love is here for everyone. As Reagan said a moment ago, I'm more concerned with how I answer to that call than my concern about if people want to label that work political or woke. They're welcome to do so. I think at the end of the day, what it is it's Christian.
Can we give our panel a hand?
Yes, that robot's working parts won't be working again for a long time. Saber Rider will be back after these messages.
Here's the thing about Denton.
When you show up in Wise County and Denton County, you cannot but be inspired.
Uplift their drag, what do we do?
Are we going to stand and fight, or are we going to surrender?
It doesn't get more Denton than this.
Are we going to stand and fight, or are we going to surrender?
One has to wonder, what would John B. Denton make of this? I don't think that he'd like it. I think it would frighten him, and he wouldn't think that it was very Denton-y. We have one last bit of information, one last bit of evidence to show you, if you're still unconvinced, that Denton is a liberal city. Then I just ask you to watch this next short film.
Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesem Jahr für dich eingesetzt habe.
Every Republican Congress, your body,
Hey, cut it out. There's a fresh cut grove with our name on it. You're here. Come on, big boy. That manliness you have. All I'm saying is that I like the cut of your chin. Have you ever been caught in a bear trap? My uncle is a hunter. One time, this poor bear was caught in his trap, and it gnawed its own leg off. Poor thing. Oh. Can you imagine losing a piece of yourself? So sexy. Let's cut a deal. You let me do whatever I want to. Come on, Nazi boy. Chop, chop. Oh, I found a mushroom.
You're a star. Do whatever you want. You can grab him by the pussy.
We will return to Helter Skelter, starring George DeCenzo and Steve Railsback.
Here's the thing about Denton.
When you show up in Wise County and Denton County, you cannot but be inspired.
Uplift their drag. What do we do?
Are we going to stand and fight, or are we going to surrender?
It doesn't get more Denton than this.
Are we going to stand and fight, or are we going to surrender?
I'm just an old country boy. Hello, I'm Alan Kent. And you know, on my last commercial, I had several telephone calls that my English wasn't proper. Well, this may be true, but I'll guarantee you one thing, you can't beat our prices. For example, I have a bunk bed complete for only $99, or this box brings a mattress for only $49. But like I say, you can't beat our prices. You haul it, you'll save money. So come in and see me at 40th and Alcona at Alan Kent Furniture, and my son at Manor Home Furniture in Chula Vista, Broadway and J. Thank you.
Is Denton a liberal city? Denton's a city just like any other city. It's got all kinds of people in it. Good and bad, rich, poor, all kinds of people living together, trying to bring a community together. There's a lot of liberal stuff going on in Denton. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that isn't liberal going on in Denton. You know what? That's okay.